It hasn't been extremely crowded, but a good amount of people have been coming in and out of this safe room. And as I kind of talk to you tonight, I can hear the rain coming down at one point, heard the thunder rumbling a bit. It got louder, it's been quieter. Even right now, I still hear that rain coming down. And when folks walked in just a little bit ago, I could feel a bit of a breeze. And so when we first got here several hours ago, it was a lot warmer. The temperature has dropped since we've been here. Again, feeling that breeze and of course the rain coming down a lot more. Folks coming inside are obviously wet from that rain, the heavy rain that's been coming down. But the people we've spoke to, they're in good spirits. They're happy to just be in a place that is safe and dry, of course. Some of the people that I've spoken to inside of this safe room tell me they got here as early as 3 o'clock. Some have been here since 5, and they plan to be here at least until midnight or until those severe weather warnings are, of course, going to expire. Now, earlier today, we were over in a different part of DeSoto County in a neighborhood. And when we arrived in that area, we saw a home that had been impacted by a fire that we believe, or we have gotten reports rather, that fire was caused by an apparent lightning strike. I had the chance to speak with a neighbor, and obviously the homeowners are pretty distraught about what happened to their home. But from speaking with that neighbor, I just learned obviously today that the neighbor was, the homeowner I should say, was in the house when this happened. They were okay. No one was injured from what I've been told earlier today, but there was significant damage to the roof. We had some photos on our website, actionnews5.com, so you can go check that out for yourself. And we've got some video obviously that we'll be able to show you on our website, again, Action News 5, so you can see what it looked like for yourself, but significant damage to that home. So really a lot of big impacts from the storm today all over the Mid-South. I've spent a good amount of time here in DeSoto County, and we are seeing the impacts of these storms all over. But back here in this community safe room, folks are really just taking it all in. They're charging up their devices, spending time with family and friends. They've got their blankets and towels, and folks are just staying pretty much in good spirits as they wait for these storms to pass. Live here in DeSoto County, Sydney Gray, Action News 5.
All right, thank you so much, Sydney. Now, right here in Memphis, right here in Midtown, we saw a number of trees down earlier in the afternoon. Our colleague Garner Montgomery has spent the entire evening driving throughout the Mid-South with storm tracker meteorologist Patrick Ellis. Garner now joins us from an area at Vinton Avenue in Midtown at McLean, where a big tree is crossing the roadway, right, Garner?
Yeah, so when we pulled up, looking at it, actually, it seems like it might not be a tree, but a power pole that is down. Let's give you a look from the overhead camera. You can see that power lines are down on the ground right now, and this utility pole is right over the entire street. Of course, it's closed off. Someone was smart enough to put some garbage cans there to remind people not to come here. Maybe these are the reports of the tree that came down. It's possible that a tree here may be too dark to see, but a tree may have come down, knocking over these two utility poles. You can see the second one, it's a little bit dimmer, but you can kind of make that out. And of course, we switch over to our dash cam. You can see directly in front of us are some down power lines. So this is about as close as we can get right now. As for the conditions outside, it's still heavy rain and some strong thunderstorms. Definitely hear the lightning outside right now. Conditions don't look good in terms of the flash flooding. Knowing this is going to go on all night, be sure to stay safe and stay inside because it's not looking too great outside right now.
Thank you so much, Garner Montgomery. All right, Crittenden County Judge Woody Wheelis issued a state of emergency today. He said, quote, "By doing this, we will be able to get immediate emergency assistance from the state in the event we have significant weather-related issues. We are preparing for the worst and praying for the best for our citizens. I ask you to please stay home in the event areas are affected by this weather." This is the Crittenden County Judge Woody Wheelis statement tonight. Multiple storm shelters open across the Action News 5 coverage area to keep you safe amid our severe weather. If you need to seek out a shelter, there are places in West Memphis, in Arlington, in East Shelby County, in Olive Branch, in DeSoto County, and in Dyersburg, where We had Imani Williams working all night long with more than 400 people who were sheltered there. These safe rooms will be open until severe weather threat passes. For a full list, look for this story on our website, actionnews5.com. All right, now that he's had a chance to take a sip of water, let's send things back to our chief meteorologist Ron Childress, who's been talking since before 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, let's get right to it, Joe, because things are looking better, but we're still not out of the woods by any means. We've seen a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust with the storms moving through Memphis and Shelby County. High risk today across the area, and northeast Arkansas bore the brunt of it, but it's not over. We've got a severe weather risk again Thursday and Friday. Thursday, Friday, all severe weather days. Heavy rain remains the main concern. This is through tonight, but really it's going to extend through the remainder of the week, and we can't rule out the potential for more damaging wind, hail, and the possibility of tornadoes. We'll finally see things taper off by Sunday and get a dry pattern in here to start next week, but a flood watch remains in effect right now until 7 a.m. Sunday. For more on what's coming down at this time, let's check in with meteorologist Eric Brill for a look at our first alert Doppler radar. Eric?
Well, Ron, we certainly are still seeing some pretty heavy rain here across the Mid-South, and we still do have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that are in place for the region, or actually it's 3 that are technically in for the region. So dive into it. What we have right now, there is a line of really heavy rain that stretches pretty much from Helena, West Helena, all the way up to the north through Brownsville, and it continues really up into Murray as far as going into Kentucky here. And I think one thing we kind of have to keep an eye on with respect to this line is the potential for some training to really start to fire up, because there have been a lot of models that have indicated the potential of that occurring here as far as the Mid-South is concerned. And once you start getting some training rain, that's where you really start to see your flood level and your flood risk really start to amplify here. As far as the severe thunderstorm warnings are concerned, there is one that is in place for the potential of 70-mile-per-hour winds. That does include the Shelby County area or in Memphis Metro. That is one we have to keep an eye on as well, and that really stretches from the southwestern corner here of Helena, West Helena up to the northeast. Notice those little arrows that you see on your screen. Those are known as skits, and those really give us good information what could be embedded within some of those showers and storms. And really, for the most part, it's indicating there's a whole heck of a lot of water and a whole heck of a lot of rain that's embedded within those. Wouldn't be surprised if there is some small hail right now near Tunica, and that's going to stretch to the northeast here and eventually over towards South Haven. Another heavy batch of rain that is into the 240 loop right now, a little bit close to Bartlett or just outside the 240 loop. That's another area we are keeping an eye on. So the rain's going to continue to fall here at a pretty heavy clip around the Mid-South. I know that there are portions of northern Mississippi. Maybe you haven't seen quite as much rain yet, but you are going to get some here through the progression of the evening and the overnight hours. And Chief Meteorologist Ron Childress, we're talking about a whole heck of a lot of rain here. We have those severe thunderstorm warnings that are around, and we'll be keeping an eye on those here throughout the rest of the night.
Have to, Eric, and as a matter of fact, look at this. We've still got temperatures near 80 in northern Mississippi. It's 81 right now in Corinth. It's 79 in Oxford. Same thing in Holly Springs, even down in Helena and Marks, Mississippi. Cooler, rain-cooled air moving into northeastern Arkansas, but that strong southerly flow continues. And from now until about 2 a.m., we're still going to see strong to severe storms and the potential for more severe storms along that leading edge as it moves on through northeastern Mississippi. We'll see a little bit of a lull around 8 in the morning, but we can't let our guard down because all of this is going to lift north as another surge of moisture comes in, and from around 10 to 2 we could find a round of strong storms there. But it's tomorrow evening I think we're going to find another significant burst of severe weather coming into play. I am encouraged by the fact that we could find temperatures in the 50s, but there's still going to be some warm air out ahead of it. We're going to have to watch that closely for the potential of more severe weather, possibly more isolated tornadoes, and the focus could shift into northeast Mississippi for tomorrow afternoon and evening. But that rain's going to continue overnight tomorrow night. Planning your day tomorrow, we're still looking at about a 60 to 70% chance of rain throughout, and it's still going to be warm. We're looking at a high of about Well, I think we'll hit a high tomorrow of about 74 as we get into our 10-day forecast. Again, a first alert weather day for Thursday. Let's check out Friday. We're going to hit 82 for a high. Now, we'll likely have some very early morning rain and thunderstorm activity right around 5 o'clock, mainly along the 40 corridor, but it's going to be lifting north as another surge of warm, moist air comes in out of the Gulf. And as that heats up in the afternoon, Friday afternoon, we could see some more isolated severe storms. And then Friday evening, we're looking at the potential for another wave of activity to come through. But it doesn't end there. 70% chance of rain on Saturday. And this one could frankly be a little more potent, especially in the early morning hours. This is going to be the main front finally pushing on through and moving out of the area, but it's going to take the whole day to get it out. And as we get into Saturday evening, Saturday night, the potential for more severe weather will continue. The good news, by Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, a drier pattern should emerge. Clouds are still going to stick around. We'll keep a 60% chance of rain in play, but check this out. By the time it's all said and done, through Saturday, and I included Thursday in this too, so this is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and early morning Sunday. We could see anywhere from around 5 inches to our south and east to possibly close to 8 inches around Memphis. Forecast models have been pretty consistent in that. We could see anywhere from 10 to 14 inches of rain across northeast Arkansas, northwest Tennessee. A tremendous probability for flooding in our northern counties across the Action News 5 coverage area. It is important that you stay weather aware tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and we can't let our guard down Sunday, because I think we could still have widespread flooding in the area, even though it looks like a good part of the day will be dry. We will be cool and dry to start next week. We're looking at temperatures in the lower 60s on Monday, mid 60s on Tuesday, and then we get back to around 70 by Wednesday. But next week, Monday through next weekend, looking nice and dry. And by then, Joe Birch, we're going to need it.
We sure will. And so those areas of your community in the Mid-South where you know they are prone to flooding, when we get this type of rain, you need to be weather aware, super weather aware, ultra weather aware over the next 4 or 5 days to make sure you and your loved ones and your family members and your neighbors don't drive into those areas. Now, part of the reason why schools are closed tomorrow in Dyer County in northwest Tennessee is because of a fear of flooding. And I saw earlier, our Imani Williams reported the power is out, at least in part of the community in Dyersburg. And so, Imani, give us an update on what's happening in Dyersburg.
Hey Joe, power is still out here in Dyersburg. The storm shelters are closed here in Dyersburg, and that's how it's been. It's been open and closed throughout the day. Today we came earlier, it opened up for us, and then once the tornado warning was lifted, it closed. It opened again when the tornado warning was back, and now since the tornado warning has been lifted, it is closed again. But like you said, the power is out on some of Highway 51 here in Dyersburg. You can kind of see there's a Dairy Queen. You probably can't see because it's so dark out here. The power's out, but there's a Dairy Queen right in front of me. From that Dairy Queen to the right, power is out, but to the left it is on. So there is a power pole that has fell across the highway. Police officers were surrounding that just a few minutes ago. They are trying to figure out how to get that power pole back up, but that is what is causing the power outage here. And the power went out earlier. The power's been out for a while. It went out while we were in the storm shelter earlier tonight, and it has not come back on just yet. Out here now, it did come back on in the storm shelter. Like you did say, Joe, schools are out here in Dyer County, so parents were glad to hear that, because schools did not let out ahead of this severe weather that came in. Now, a lot of people were on edge today because 19 years ago today, in 2006, there was a outbreak of tornadoes that touched down here in Dyer County. 16 people lost their lives in that tornado outbreak. Dozens others were injured. I actually talked to a woman who said that her nephew was actually injured in that tornado outbreak, and she said they just get a little nervous when it comes to tornadoes, and so they made sure that they came to the storm shelter today. But it was nearly 500 people in the storm shelter, and she said that is why, because today a lot of people are on edge. They wanted to make sure that they were somewhere safe, because they know 19 years ago today how that day was for people here in Dyer County. We'll continue to follow what is happening here with the power here in Dyersburg, but for now, live in Dyersburg, Imani Williams, Action News 5. Back to you, Joe.
All right, thank you. Such a great job tonight, Imani. Thank you. Now look at this video from Bay, Arkansas. This is in Craighead County, up by Jonesboro. We do know that this storm is a confirmed tornado, and what you see there is that cone tearing through Craighead County in Arkansas, at Bay, Arkansas. And we have quite a bit of video, and our colleague Ryan Vaughn in Jonesboro says today sets a record for the most number of tornadoes on the ground at once in northeastern Arkansas. This is one of the many tornado warnings that our colleagues here at Action News 5, Ron Childers, Eric Brill, and Patrick Ellis, were monitoring throughout the whole afternoon as one tornado warning came up after another. This one out of Bay in Craighead County, Arkansas. Now, let's talk about power outages. This is the live electric outage map from our friends at Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. At the moment, 7,778 people, customers, are without power in Shelby County, Tennessee, which is, of course, MLGW's coverage area. And we see that there's a significant outage in the Mallory area and East Shelby Drive. We also see in parts of Midtown and North Memphis, we have power out. So 7,778 customers without power right now. If your power is out, you can always call the utility company, MLGW, their outage hotline, number 901-544-6500, and they want to know your report. So if you have yet to call it in, just yesterday, Doug McGowan, the president and CEO of MLGW, was in our studio for our new program, A Better Memphis, and we talked about this forthcoming weather event. And he said, we want people to call. When your power goes out, call 901-544-6500. Let them know so their teams can make plans and get busy about restoring the power. He said, we probably know it's out, but we love to have the confirmation. All right, Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee and the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency TEMA Director Patrick Sheehan issued a state of emergency for Tennessee. Lee has also requested an emergency declaration for the state. TEMA says the state of emergency allows the state to take measures to protect citizens and expedite assistance, including mobilizing resources and coordinating responses. Now, this is a look at some of the damage that we found here. Our cameras saw throughout the city of Memphis today. This is video at Lamar Avenue near Central. This is Midtown by the University Club right there. And you can see traffic was blocked on Lamar there for a time today due to vegetation falling down. This is what we could see we're going to see for tonight and the rest of the weekend. Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers has a final look at our weather.
Check it out, Joe, because we're not finished with this just yet. Now, we still have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, one including Shelby County. It's going to go until 10:45 tonight, but a tremendous amount of rain. Now we're starting to see flooding right around the Whitehaven area. We've got crews that are headed into that area right now. But fortunately, just severe thunderstorm warnings, but we're not dealing with anything in the way of tornado warnings, but we can't let our guard down. So we're going to continue to watch this through the remainder of the overnight hours. There's still a bit of a juicy atmosphere right around parts of northeastern Mississippi. So that's an area of concern that we'll be watching very closely. But I do want to give you your first alert to the next 10 days. We're still going to see another round of strong to severe storms. Could have some activity in the morning Thursday, but I think there's a better probability as we get into the afternoon and evening. That could go late night, 74 the high. Then Friday seems like a little bit of a lull, but another first alert weather day as another round of storms will break out in the late afternoon and evening. And we could see isolated cells that develop during the daytime hours. As we get to Saturday, the whole system's finally going to make a move to the east, but it's going to make a stormy day throughout. We'll finally see the rain ending by early Sunday and a dry pattern emerging as we get on into the beginning of next week. Patrick Ellis, did you have something?
The storm that they just issued a severe thunderstorm warning on goes up to 80 miles an hour.
Okay.
And that's going to be for Haywood, McNary, Fayette, Madison, Crockett, Tipton, Carroll, Gibson, Hardeman, and Henderson.
All right, good deal. Thank you for that. Thank you for all the work. Good job today, Eric and Patrick. Joe Birch.
Well, I'll tell you, 80-mile-an-hour winds in West Tennessee. We had a 54-mile-an-hour gust a short time ago. Stay weather aware. This is the team to be watching right here on Action News 5 throughout the next 4 or 5 days.
Good evening, I'm meteorologist Ron Childers. We're back on the air tonight simply because we're getting reports of 80-mile-an-hour winds that are poised to move through the city of Memphis and Shelby County. Many of you are going to start getting warnings on your phones or mobile devices soon as this activity is coming on into play. There's still a lot working around the area, and just to give you an idea of what is happening, Memphis and Shelby County under a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible in this, showing signs of rotation, but there's also strong wind and the potential for damage. Now, this will expire at 10:45, but there's another one that's coming in just behind it, and this severe thunderstorm warning really has the potential to pack a punch as well. Let me clear this off of here and give you a better idea of what it is we are looking at. And this severe thunderstorm warning is about to cross the Mississippi River. Tornado possible with this for Crittenden, Lee, St. Francis, and Tunica counties. Severe thunderstorm warning right now, but it's the wind that's accompanying this that is very strong. That's why we're back on the air with you tonight. We could see damage in the form of trees going down, additional power outages. You get winds like that, they're going to mow over just about anything they come across. Chester, Gibson, Henderson, Madison County, you remained under a severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado possible there as well, as there's still some signs of rotation that it's trying to continue within the storm itself. Meteorologist Eric Brill is with me right now. You've got a pretty good look at the winds that are coming through. Eric, more specifically, where are the greater winds at this time?
So it looks like, Ron, as far as some of the strongest winds right now, they are in eastern Haywood County, starting to approach over towards Madison County as well. And really Crockett County, a lot of these same areas that took it on the chin earlier this afternoon are seeing some of the strongest winds. This is looking a little bit far away from the actual radar site here, but this is indicating the potential of, well, there you go, a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust. Even if that is elevated in the sky and looking a little bit higher.
You think that's reaching the surface?
You know, if nothing else, the rain that's coming out of this, it's probably transitioning at least, say, 75 to 80% of it down to the surface of the earth, and that's still looking at a 60-plus mile-per-hour gust. So I think that's at least possible here as far as the eastern portion of Haywood County is concerned. Some of the stronger winds down to the south, too, as far as Somerville goes. Those ones might not be quite as strong as the ones to the north, but still, we're looking at some really strong wind gusts right now, just literally steam rolling through the eastern side of Haywood County into Fayette County. If you know anybody over in Madison County or Hardeman County over towards Bolivar, give them that first alert there, so this way they are aware of this strong line of winds and heavy rain that will be moving through those counties here rather shortly. Don't have anything as far as tornadic activity confirmed or on the ground or anything like that, or even a tornado warning right now. Still keep an eye on the potential for just a quick little spin up to occur here and there. Fortunately, as of this time, nothing's catching my eye as far as the tornadic side of things. I will say I am keeping an eye on a little cluster of showers and storms that just to the east of Pine Bluff that might be intersecting the far western portion of Phillips County. But at least, Ron, right now, this is certainly more of a wind threat than it is really anything else, I'd say.
Okay, so folks in Haywood County, we're seeing cells basically merge, and that is increasing the wind, plus the momentum of the line itself as it pushes off to the east. A lot of rain associated with this as well. But right now, it looks like the area of main concern is coming on through Fayette and Haywood counties right now as that pushes off to the east. So let me zoom in a little tighter, and then we're going to put some tracks on this and show you where those stronger winds are going to be, because this will likely have an impact on Madison County, possibly even Hardeman County as it comes on through. So with that in mind, let's put a track right here on this leading edge of storms, and let's track that off to the east northeast. Whiteville 1045, then into Huntersville at 1050, 1104 into Jackson, Pinson 1116, Henderson 1126, and then we'll get into Finger at 1135, 1141 should move on into Lexington. That's going to take it on outside of the Action News 5 coverage area that continues to move in that direction. But we also want to continue to watch this area that is just to the south. This is parts of northern Mississippi right here, really from Corinth down to Oxford. We are finding Temperatures still near 80, 79 degrees at the top of the hour in Oxford. And look at this, back to the west, we've got another tornado warning that has just popped up. This is outside of our area, but we're going to have to watch that cell. This is for Arkansas, Lincoln, and Monroe counties, as that cell is going to eject to the north and east. And if it continues on its path, well, it could have some impact on Lee and Phillips counties. And as I track that off to the east-northeast, let's take a look at some of the communities that could be impacted by this cell. I think I'm going to have to clear. There we go. So St. Charles, 1040, Marvell, 1106, Lexington, 1119, Helena, 1130. We'll move into Jonestown at about 1152, Tunica, 1153, Sledge, 1216, Hernando coming in there at about 1230. So there may be some storms packing a punch well into the overnight hours tonight, but our main concern right now is for this severe thunderstorm warned storm that has a potential of producing 80-mile-an-hour winds as it is moving on through Hardeman County, or Haywood County, excuse me, for the most part. So Chester, Hardeman, McNairy, Madison County under a warning there, but the other warning just to the south of that is going to include Benton, Fayette, Hardeman, and Marshall counties. That's the one that has the potential to bring with it the damaging wind and possibly a quick spin-up tornado. Eric, you've got a pretty good look at it right now. What are you seeing?
It's amazing, Ron, just watching this line of wind just spread from the west to the east here. I mean, in the span of half an hour, this went from Mason almost all the way to Jackson here. So in the span of, well, maybe not quite to Jackson, that's a little exaggerated, but in the span of half an hour, it went roughly about 35 miles or so.
Absolutely amazing.
So that's moving to the east here at a very quick rate. I can imagine on I-40 right now, it's got to be literally blinding here if you're traveling from Jackson towards Memphis. Clearly, we don't recommend traveling as it is anyway, but that wind is hauling the mail right now. Long Highway 64 over towards Whiteville. You're about to get another round of really strong winds. Laconia, same idea as well, over towards Bolivar. Mercer, that was an area that we were talking about earlier today that I believe had a confirmed tornado on the ground. That's a region that's going to be seeing at least some strong winds. When you get this line of winds to race ahead of the main line, as Ron said, it can cause a quick spin up of a tornado here. And the rotation detector is at least detecting that ability is a possibility here, especially into Madison County, just to the west of Jackson. So small areas like that, we've got to keep an eye on those. Further down to the south right now, heading into northern Mississippi, same idea with some of those stronger winds around. They might not be quite as impressive as some areas to the north right now, but certainly keep an eye on some of these winds that are very strong here across the Mid-South, especially into Haywood County. I think that's the one to really kind of keep an eye on right now. Well, I guess
that's the one that really has the potential to do some damage in West Tennessee. And it's just that straight line wind that's associated with that. So again, that warning remains in effect now. Here in the city of Memphis and Shelby County, let me put the features back on here and show you once again, we are still under a severe thunderstorm warning for Shelby County. That is going to go until 1045, but it's the one that is just to the east of us that is for really coming on through Haywood County right now. That's the one that we're watching closely at this time, and for any potential of a tornado to pop up within that. So a lot of activity going on here. It has been a very stormy day. Storm started this afternoon right around just before 3 o'clock, and now this activity just continues to push on east and through the Action News 5 coverage area. Rain is also a big concern with this, and that's also contributing to the wind. As that rain comes down, you get so much. Look at that. It's coming down at about just over 2.5 inches per hour. Then you get down around just to the south of Somerville, just over 1.5 inches per hour. But that rain has a tremendous ability to bring down a column of air with it, spread out as it hits the surface, and create some big problems there. So right now, we're shifting to a flooding and wind threat with these storms as they continue to move on through. But right now, Overall, not seeing any additional tornado warnings issued for our coverage area. National Weather Service is extending some warnings a little closer to the Tennessee River. We're going to watch this little cell that's starting to make its way into Lee and Phillips County right now. But overall, the real cluster of storms along and north of the 40 corridor, heavy rain, torrential wind, and with the potential for 80-mile-an-hour wind gust here. Yeah, the potential for trees to go down, damage to homes, and taking out power in those areas, a serious concern right now. Eric, anything you see that catches your eye?
Not at this very moment, which, you know, I'd classify that as being a good thing, but it's easy to say that too. Compared to some of those areas that are right now in Hardeman County and into Haywood County that are seeing some of those strongest winds. Fortunately, at this time, it doesn't look like that there's any rotation necessarily within these winds, but when you have 80-mile-per-hour winds, if you have a line of 80-mile-per-hour winds that stretches over 10 miles long, that's going to do more damage than an EF0 tornado because it literally just covers physically such a big space here. So if you're over in Bolivar right now, you're tuning in, hey, we appreciate that. But be aware you could see some really strong winds here over the next half an hour or so, as a lot of these storms, they are racing to the east and northeast here at about 60 miles per hour, in some cases even faster than that. Still have that ability to see a quick little spin up here as far as the tornado goes. I'd say the most favorable location would be into southern Fayette County. Notice some of these greens and some of these reds that are embedded on your screen here just to the south of Somerville, really kind of midway between 64 and 72. That's where that quick spin up has at least the possibility of happening. There might be some small hail embedded too, but really the big thing is going to be the winds out of this. The thing I want you to see here is these reds. Notice how just west of Jackson, you kind of have a sharp contrast here. Yeah. That goes from the winds being relatively tame to the flip of a switch, those winds potentially going up to 80 miles per hour. So, Ron, you know this, we all know this as far as in the weather world. You get some of those straight line winds, some of those, I don't know if I wouldn't call it a derecho, but just as far as some of those really gusty winds all of a sudden, that's where you can really see a lot of damage here. And heck, here at the station we had, what was it, a 54-mile-per-hour gust, I believe it was, and this is that same line that kind of was responsible for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the larger polygon is now expired. 1046 is where we are right now. We still have the one severe thunderstorm warning that remains for a portion of Shelby County. That's going to go until 11 o'clock. So, Eric, what do you say we go ahead, we'll track this till the top of the hour, and then regroup, see how things are going to play out. And, again, right now we're watching this one severe thunderstorm warned area. And it looks, did they just issue another warning on top of that? So
correct.
Yeah, we've got another one now.
So that's
going to go until 11:30. Tornado possible. Fayette, Hardeman, Madison, and McNairy counties on that one.
And that's for the potential of 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as 1.5 inch in diameter hail. So, as you said, a tornado possible tag as well.
I want to take a close look at this little cell that's down here.
Yeah, that's going to, I think that's when we almost have to, obviously we have that line of wind that's racing to the east. We got to keep an eye on that one that's just outside of Phillips County.
And I think I've got everything cleared off here. Let me just zoom into that. And, well, for whatever reason, it just switched on me. Here we go. Let's take a zoom in on this because that's a nasty looking little cell in and of itself. Now we're hitting that at a pretty good distance from the radar site. We're checking it out right now on the Little Rock radar site. But as far as looking at the potential for rotation within it and the velocity, I can see, but it looks again like this may be more of a wind event as well. You may have some strong winds coming in behind that. Doesn't look like a significant rotation, although you've got a pretty good shear marker over that, Eric. What is that? That's a tall one right there. So that's showing us that the shear with this, or the rotation with it, is generally in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which makes sense. That's where we're seeing it from the radar site itself. But nonetheless, there is still a tornado warning that remains for that little particular cell. That too is going to go until about 11:15 tonight. So overall, dealing with severe thunderstorm warnings for much of the coverage area. 11 o'clock for Crittenden, DeSoto, Shelby, and Tunica counties. New warning for Fayette, Hardeman, McNairy, or Madison and McNairy counties. That's going to go until 11:30. And then this larger polygon, this one is including quite a few counties, and potential for some destructive winds with that for Crockett, Gibson, Haywood, Madison County. And again, tornado possible in that. It's going to go until 11:15 tonight. So this is what we're seeing. This is what we're tracking. This is why we're back on the air tonight, simply because of the potential for more damaging wind or for damaging wind, especially into this part of West Tennessee, but also keeping a close eye on this one for the potential of a tornado. Eric, I see you've got a skit on that one down there. It's looking a little ominous. You see anything that catches your eye on that?
So a lot of these skits, it looks like they're ranging from about a 3.5 to a 4.5 as far as that BTI goes here.
Yeah.
And that number, yet again, it goes from a 1 to a 10. So once we start to see that number climb above 7, that's an uh-oh. Honestly, that's the most G-rated way to put it, as far as we're really starting to keep an eye on things. And once it starts climbing above 5, I think that's really when it starts to draw our attention. So with a lot of these ranging between about 3.5 to 4.5 right now, they're all just kind of collectively keep an eye on it, keep an eye on it. It's kind of going around different things here. It seems like as far as the National Weather Service in Arkansas, once they start to approach more the Memphis forecast areas, it seems like there is some consistency as far as those storms going from west to east here, that whatever it is to the west, they extend that to the east. So it seems like it is possible that this could become a tornado-warned storm as it crosses over into Phillips County. I do agree with your assessment, Ron. Maybe it doesn't necessarily look quite as impressive as it had earlier, but there's at least, it looks like, some stronger winds embedded. Notice as far as this goes here, when you start seeing those reds and the greens with this given graphic, that's usually a sign of some stronger winds that could be around here. This is indicating 70-mile-per-hour winds. And you know what? Let me drag this up to the north here and see. Well, it looks like between Oakland and Moscow and Somerville over towards Williston. I'm pretty sure meteorologist Patrick Ellis, he was over in that area earlier today. Some ping-pong ball-sized hail is a possibility here as this approaches Williston. But that main line that is scooting to the east right now, it has those potential 80-mile-per-hour winds that continues to race itself off to the east here. And Ron, haven't got any confirmed reports that there has been any sort of damage with those 80-mile-per-hour winds, but obviously we're still pretty early as far as just this line of storms moving itself from the west to the east.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite frankly, that's the little cell we're watching more closely right now. Wind's still a big problem here, and radar indicated winds at that. I don't think we had did we have surface confirmation of winds, you guys? Nothing? Okay, so again, in the upper levels, and we're hitting that, as that's moving on through, you get all of this just kind of converging right over this area right here, and that can really create some big problems. So with this warmer air mass, this juicy warm air mass still in place just to our south and east, we got to watch it very closely. Got about another 9 minutes left on this warning. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning just to our north, and the possibility for some destructive winds with that for Crockett, Haywood, Lauderdale, Madison counties. That goes until 11:15 tonight, and 11:30 for the one that is just to the south of it. But overall, I think Memphis and Shelby County are faring well as we head into the overnight hours. Tornado possible in this. We can't rule it out, but we're not seeing anything in the way of significant rotation, at least from our perspective on it. I do want to take a look outside from our Midtown camera. Jayla, if that's possible, can you pop that camera up and let us take a look and see what's going on outside tonight? A bit more tranquil. At one point, you couldn't see a thing from that camera. Now it's all fizzled out. The heavy rain still will continue across the area, but we're starting to transition now more into a flood event as opposed to a significant severe weather outbreak. But we can't let our guard down. We're going to see the potential for more severe storms coming into the area as we get into the day on Friday. There could be some strong storms in the early morning hours. I want to encourage you to add some extra time to your morning commute, because there is the potential for some strong to severe storms as we get right around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we could likely see another round maybe in the early afternoon with more activity likely tomorrow night. Thursday is a first alert weather day as well. So it has been one heck of a day today. Northeastern Arkansas and really eastern Arkansas as a whole bore the brunt of it, but some strong storms coming through, taking out power, bringing down some trees, tree limbs, and power lines for a good part of the Action News 5 coverage area, primarily into West Tennessee. But right now, I think we hopefully are seeing a bit more tranquil patterns start to emerge. When I say tranquil, it's still going to be loud. There's still going to be a lot of lightning, still going to be a lot of thunder, and there's still going to be a lot of rain. But Eric, you're looking at storm winds right now, still seeing that indication of some rotation, but it's not what we would typically see in regard to a storm that's producing a tornado.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the got a report from one of the emergency management officials over in Fayette County that there was apparently some ping pong ball sized hail that occurred near Somerville. So that's something we are gonna have to check up upon on here, because that's pretty big hail to come out of this here. As far as those winds go, Somerville seeing some of the strongest winds here over the past about 15 minutes or so that you've seen of this entire event. Looks like there could be some rotation just to the east of Williston right now, getting a little bit close to Bolivar. So your first alert, if you are over in Bolivar, to watch out for the potential of some strong winds at the least here. Maybe there is some rotation that is embedded here. Don't think that it's necessarily an over-the-top threat as far as, say, a tornadic threat, but you still have the potential of seeing some pretty strong winds here, and there is that severe thunderstorm warning that is around here, and the potential of 80-mile-per-hour winds. That's a pretty serious verbiage as far as the National Weather Service indicating that here. That is until 11:15. The time right now is 10:55. I have another severe thunderstorm warning that's just to the south of that. That's until 11:30, with another opportunity to see some strong winds as well. So, Ron, I tell you what we're going to do.
Yeah, we'll take it up to 11 o'clock, top of the hour. Then we're going to regroup, watch this, see what's going on. We came back on the air simply because of that warned storm moving through Haywood County. Yeah, we've got some severe thunderstorm warnings. We've seen no tornado warnings, but we've been on the air now for more than 8 hours. It's time to take a little break, regroup. We've still got a long night to go, and we've got a long day to get through tomorrow as well. So I want you folks to know that we're going to continue to watch this, monitor it closely, and if the need arises, we're going to jump back on the air as we did with this system coming on, or this line of wind coming on through Haywood and Hardeman and Fayette counties tonight. But right now, it looks like as that continues to push off to the east, getting no reports of damage from those areas. It is getting into the late night. This severe thunderstorm warned cell right here to the south of Memphis, that's going to expire at 11 o'clock tonight. Then I think we're going to see our flood warnings continue to remain in place. 11:45 for one. We've got another one just to the east of that. That flood warning is going to remain until 12:15. Look, if you're going to be out late tonight, and I highly discourage it, but if you are and you come to a flooded road, I want you to turn around, don't drown. There is likely to be flooding all across eastern Arkansas and into West Tennessee tonight as a result of the very heavy rain that we have endured, and really the rain from the last from last weekend. Ground's still saturated in many areas as a result of that. So right now, this rain that is falling, much of it just turning into runoff. So the ground can't absorb much more, and that's going to contribute to rising tributaries, flooded streets, and some big issues, I believe, with the morning commute tomorrow, especially as we're seeing indications of this rain continuing as we get on into the remainder of the overnight hours tonight, and that moisture just continuing to train right over the area. So we call these training echoes, rain falling over areas where we've already seen rain. This will make a slow push to the east, but again, right now it looks like it is primarily a rain event and a flooding event, with the exception of that one cell that's starting to move on into Phillips County right now. But the BTI on that was below a 5, I do believe. Where were we at? A 4.0 on it right now. So even the rotation on that seems minimal to a great degree. Eric, would you agree?
I would agree with that. And now we're getting a report of some 70-mile-per-hour wind gust over northern Fayette County. So it seems like Fayette County right now. They're
bearing the brunt of it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That is absolutely sure. Let me clear this off. Let's zoom in. Tell you what, I'll put another little track on this before we wrap it up here until the next round moves in. So northern Fayette County, that's where they're seeing that and that is going to come in. So that main line right there, let's take a look at the velocity on it. It's really, oh, and you can see, look at this area right here. Man, that is some strong wind. It's really northwestern Hardeman County that I would say is getting the strongest wind with this. So as that's moving off to the east, and what is it moving at, about 40, 50 miles per hour? Bolivar, 1106, strong wind coming your way. Medon, 1110. Silerton, 1122. Pinson, 1123. Henderson, 1133. It's going to get into Finger right around 1142. Now, we're talking about the strong wind, the leading edge of that wind. Lexington at about 1150, and then into Alberton at 1156. So that's what I'm looking at in regard to the wind potential there. But as far as the rainfall goes, it's pretty heavy in those areas too. And the rain rates, they were pretty high when we were checking them out moments ago. And look at that little area right there around the corners of Haywood, Fayette, and Hardeman County, just around 2 inches per hour. Southeastern Shelby County, you've got some heavy rain coming into Collierville. That will move north on into Germantown and right around 1 inch per hour. So again, taking you back to the home page, still dealing with a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. The warning for Memphis and Shelby County is now expired, replaced by a flood warning. Still some active severe thunderstorm warnings to our east, but we're going to continue to track it through the overnight hours, and if the need be, we will jump back on the air. Eric, any final thoughts?
Not right now. Just got to keep an eye on things for this evening. If you are headed to sleep, make sure you do have multiple devices that will wake you up if you do get put under a tornado warning or one of those very strong severe thunderstorm warnings. All
righty. Patrick Ellis is back bright and early in the morning. He'll be tracking these storms at 4:30 a.m. Eric and I will be here through the overnight hours, and we'll likely see you again tomorrow for our next round of strong to severe storms. In the meantime, we're going to get you back to Jimmy Fallon, already in progress.